Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is jtran and I'm a commercial editorial portrait photographer located in the Washington, D.C. area. On today's video, we're going to talk about how I prepare and photograph a model's portfolio shoot in the studio. So a model's portfolio shoot is focused on the model. I like to keep everything simple by showcasing the model and not the clothes, so it's a little different from fashion photography. When it comes to styling for the portfolio shoot, I always recommend basic outfits that fit well. You're going to want to look at clothing such as tank tops, plain shirts, jeans, fitted jackets, and clean pants. I recommend keeping the clothing colors neutral so they don't overpower the image and draw attention away from the model. If you need some ideas for styling and poses, I've posted my mood board links from Pinterest down below. Having the mood board on my laptop during the shoot is a really good way to get everyone on the same page. If you have trouble with poses and whatnot, you can look at the mood board and pull that up as reference. So not all portfolio shoots need to be shot and styled in the way I've described. This is just my approach on how I shoot them. The types of images that I produce from these shoots can be used by the agencies that represent the models. That way, prospective clients who want to hire the models can go to the agency websites and browse the portfolios to find the model that suits their needs. This is why it's really important to showcase the model's features and fitted clothing, because brands are going to want to see the model's body type. If you are new to studio photography, then I would recommend practicing as much as possible with one strobe light and a friend that's comfortable in front of the camera. Having confidence in your lighting and editing skills will go a long way in building your own portfolio. As your work improves, you can reach out to modeling agencies and ask to become a test photographer. This is how most photographers build up to working with agency models. In my previous video on introduction to camera gear for fashion photography in studio, I covered basic equipment and tethering practices. In this video, we'll go over the actual equipment I use to shoot a model's portfolio. The camera that I've been using for the past 2 years in studio is the Canon 5D Mark IV. Despite being an older camera, I think it's one of the best options for studio photography. Because I'm shooting tethered with off-camera flash, I don't need the additional information from a mirrorless readout of the sensor. I'm also shooting stop down at f5.6 or higher, so I'm less concerned about the depth of field or eye autofocus. I think those technologies are great. I own mirrorless cameras myself, but for this type of studio photography, I like the simplicity of the Canon 5D Mark IV. My lens choice for a model portfolio shoot is the Canon 85mm f1.4L with image stabilization. This is the best 85mm lens I've ever used. It's incredibly sharp stop down, and I find it versatile for both portraits and headshots. I rarely shoot on a tripod, so having image stabilization is also a plus. My favorite strobe to use in studio is pretty basic. I use the Godox 8600, the non-pro version. I find it has more than enough power to light my model. I use it in conjunction with a 7-foot silver parabolic umbrella with the diffusion panel. To control my strobe, I use the Godox X Pro trigger and I set it up in manual mode. Since I'm shooting tethered, I check the exposure using the histogram in Capture One. Because I'm shooting manual, I can make small incremental adjustments to the power settings. This way I can get the correct exposure. Once I start shooting and I'm happy with the images coming out of the camera, I'll apply one of my color presets to the images in Capture One. This way the model can get a feel for what the final images will look like once they're edited. To light my models, I like to do what is referred to as feathering. This is when you allow the light coming from the edges of your modifier to light your subject. It's a little different from aiming a softbox directly at your subject. With feathering, you'll notice the light is much softer in quality with little to no hot spots if done correctly. I feel that this technique creates the most natural looking light on your model's skin, and because I'm using one light, you can get a lot of interesting shadows. To add even more drama to the images, I like to use 2 black V-flats and I place them on either side of the model. These black V-flats will soak up any light spilling off reflective surfaces and create even more contrast. This is a stylistic choice and my personal preference, but feel free to experiment with what you think looks best to you. For shooting a model's portfolio in the studio, I think it's important to get a variety of crops and angles. Even though I'm shooting on an 85mm lens the entire day, I will physically move closer to get tighter crops to show the model's face better. This is a great time to capture headshot type images and tighter portraits. Once I'm happy with those, I'll move much further back to shoot the full-length body shots. Because I'm on an 85mm lens, you're going to need a lot of room in your studio for this. Otherwise, switching out to a shorter focal length like a 50mm lens will also work for the full body shots. Just make sure you capture a variety of crops, including headshots, portraits, 3/4 length, and full body images. I hope you guys have found this information helpful if you plan on shooting model portfolios. If you'd like to see more of my work, you can follow me on Instagram at jtran. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you found this content useful. Alright guys, until next time, peace.